Hello everyone. In this video we will learn about one of the CPU scheduling algorithm, that is round robin scheduling algorithm. So round robin is the preemptive scheduling algorithm. Each process is provided a fixed time to execute. It is called quantum. So each and every scheduling algorithm is having its own techniques. So for example, if you consider the FCFS, so whatever the process comes first, that process will execute first. So that is the technique we will consider in FCFS. So if you consider the SJF, shortest job first, so in that, which process is having the least burst time, that process will execute first. And if you consider the priority based scheduling algorithm, so based on the highest priority of the particular process, the process will execute, the program will execute. Now in the similar fashion, in round robin scheduling algorithm, it is completely based on the quantum value. So completely based on the quantum value, that means whatever the average time, whatever the burst time, whatever the priority is there, so the process will execute for a particular quantum of time only. So first it will execute that particular quantum of time. So next again means until the completion of the process, in a round robin fashion the processes will execute. So what is this quantum? Quantum means each process is provided a fixed time. It may be 1, it may be 2, it may be 3, like that. So the fixed time is assigned to each and every process for execution purpose. So that is called as quantum. So based on this quantum technique, the round robin scheduling algorithm will takes place. Once a process is executed for a given time period, it is preempted and other process executes for a given time period. So here this round robin scheduling algorithm is a preemptive process scheduling algorithm. Preemptive means in the middle of the execution of the process, it will be forcefully stop and the other process will start execution forcibly. That means the process execution means is not completed, but due to some reasons it will be stopped forcefully and the other process will start execution. So here once a process is executed for a given time quantum, that means here a fixed quantum is considered and each process is executed for that time period only, for that quantum period. It is preempted and other process executes for a given time period. Context switching is used to save states of preempted processes. So here we consider one example for round robin scheduling algorithm. So here we have processes, arrival time, burst time, waiting time and turnaround time. So by using the values of arrival time and burst time, we will draw the Gantt chart for processes P0, P1, P2 and P3. So finally by using the Gantt chart, we will find the waiting time of each and every process and the turnaround time values also. So by using the waiting time and by using turnaround time, we will find the average waiting time value and average turnaround time values. So here in this round robin fashion, we will use a quantum value. So that quantum is equal. So a particular time period that is common for all the processes. So we'll see. So here the quantum is considered as 3. So for 3 time period, each and every process will start execution and after 3 it will simply preempted and the other process will start executed. So like this. So we'll see. So here the burst time of P0 is 5, P1 is 3, P2 is 8 and P3 is 6. But in round robin fashion, it is not dependent on this burst time. Simply it will be dependent on the quantum value. So first if the process is started, it will be executed for the quantum value only. So if the burst time is not completed, then again after completion of all the processes time quantum value, again it will start executing this process. So we'll see how it will be worked. So first process is P naught, so it will start at 0 and it will executed for 3 because the quantum is 3, but actually the burst time of P naught is 5. So if it is executed for 3, then remaining 2 values are pending, so that will be in the waiting state. Now after 3, the process P1 is started, so again it will be executed for 3, and like that after 3, P1 process P1 is terminated, but here the burst time of P1 is also 3. That means the execution of P1 is stopped here, that means terminated here, because the total execution of P1 is completed. The quantum is equal to the burst time, so that's why the execution of P1 is terminated. But P1 is still pending with 2. So we'll see when the P naught is again started. P naught is pending with 2 when it will be started. So we'll see. So after completion of P1 at 6, again P2 will start. So P2 will execute for 3 quantum. So 6 plus 3, that is 9. So now at 9, P2 is preempted. Even though the burst time of P2 is 8, it will only executed for 3 and remaining 5 is pending. That will be in the waiting state. Now at 9, the P3 will start and it will execute for 12. So what is the burst time for P3? It is 6. So quantum 3 is executed here. So remaining 3 is pending. So what are the pending values? So here the pending values are P naught and P2 and P3. So 3 quantums of each process is already completed. Now the pending values are, for P naught it is 3 is already completed, so 2, and P1 3. 3 means already completed. Execution is completed with time quantum 3. Now P2 only 3 quantum is executed, so remaining value is 5. Now P3. So P3 3 quantum is already executed, so the remaining value is 3. So now we have the processes in queue, that is P naught, P2 and P3, because P1 job is completed. So now once P naught, P1, P2, P3 is completed, again in a round robin fashion it will start from the first. So now again at 12, P naught is started. So actually it will be the time quantum of 3, but the remaining burst time of P naught is 2. So that's why it will be executed for 2 only. 12 plus 2, that is 14. Now after completion of P naught, what is the waiting state of the process? So the in waiting period P2 is there, so it will start executing. So that is 14 plus 3. So still 2 is remaining. So the process P naught is completed and the process P1 is completed. So now we have P2 and P3. So P2 is executing and remaining value is 2. Now it's the turn of P3. So P3 is start at 17 and 3 quantum is executed, that is 20. So 20 means it is also completed. So now we have only the process that is called P2. So only process that is called P2, that will be pending with 2 values. So finally P2 will start executing. So see, P naught, P1, P2, P3. Again P naught value is started, that will be executed for 2, because initially it will be executed 3 quantum, and later it will execute for 2 quantum. Totally 3 plus 2, that is 5. It will satisfies the burst time. So like that each and every process will execute for a particular time quantum. So until completion of the burst time, in the similar fashion, means in a round robin fashion, each and every process will execute for 3 quantum periods. So now the Gantt chart is there. Now by using this Gantt chart, we will take the waiting time for each and every process. So here P naught is used. So we'll see what are the waiting time for each and every process. So by this Gantt chart, so the P naught is here. Actually P naught is there, its initial time is 0, but again it will wait until 12 seconds. So the waiting time of P naught is 12, and the waiting time of P1, that is 3, and the waiting time of P2. So here two P2s are there. First it will start at 6 and completed at 9. Again it will wait for 14. So for P2 it is 14 and finally it is 20. So 3 P2s are there. P2 starts at 6, P2 starts at 14 and P2 starts at 20. So the waiting time for P2 is 20 and for P3 it is 17. So now we have the waiting time for each and every process. So for P0 it is 12, for P1 it is 3, and for P2 it is 20, and for P3 it is 17. Now we have the formula for turnaround time, that is waiting time plus burst time. So the waiting time values of each and every process is there and the burst time values are there. So now we will find the turnaround time for each and every process. So the turnaround time for process P0, that is 12 plus 5, 17, and the turnaround time for process P1, that is 3 plus 3, 6, and the turnaround time for process P2, that is 20 plus 8, that is 28, and for turnaround time of process P3, that is 17 plus 6, that is equal to 23. So now we have the waiting time values and turnaround time values. So by using the formula of average waiting time and average turnaround time, we will find the values. So for average waiting time, the formula is sum of waiting time by total number of processes. So average waiting time is 12 plus 3 plus 20 plus 17. So 12 plus 3 plus 20 plus 17. So by total number of processes are 4. So 52 by 4, that is 13. So in this similar fashion, average turnaround time of each process is 17 plus 6 plus 28. 17 plus 6 plus 28 plus 23. So that is 74 by total number of processes are 4. So 74 by 4, that is 18.5. So in this way we will find the average waiting time and average turnaround time by using round robin scheduling algorithms.